My ultimate dream of computing consists of one device where I have decent performance while having the highest priority be thin and light for portability's sake. When I'm at home, I want to be able to dock this extremely mobile device to get a desktop experience and preferably also a boost in the GPU performance as well. The service line from Microsoft seemed to be edging the industry closer and closer to this dream. For now, let's take a look at the Surface Pro 4. Physically, the Surface Pro 4 is thin, light, and extremely well built. The magnesium chassis is premium feeling, and the tolerances are pretty darn tight. This screen is, in my opinion, one of the best in the industry. I have yet to see a laptop in person with a better looking screen and color reproduction out of the box without any calibration required. From the Windows camp, of course. Overall, the build quality is where you'd expect from a device at this price point. Port-wise, the Surface Pro 4 is rocking a single USB 3.0 port, a mini display port, a micro SD card slot under the kickstand, and a Microsoft's proprietary Surface Connect port, which serves as the charging port, I'm using that word a lot, port, but also for the docking station, which powers 2 monitors, multiple USB ports, 3.0, and an Ethernet port, which makes it, at first glance, very similar to the functionality of USB Type-C. So I haven't found anything released on actual transfer rate capabilities. I want to see that. So comment below if you have a source that outlines the Surface Connect technology. One thing people point out is the kickstand. It is fantastic. Over time it gets a little bit of wobble, but from my experience owning the Surface Pro 3 for well over a year, and now the Surface Pro 4 for quite some time as well, the kickstand's eventual wobbliness doesn't impact usability at all. It's still firm, it's still sturdy, and you can use it at any angle with no real problem. The battery life is very good if you're someone who manages their battery well. Of course, a device this size has a smaller battery capacity, and so you really kind of have to gauge based on your usage. You can expect anywhere from 4 to 8 hours, depending on how you use your system. Like the video and comment below if you want to see how I minimized my battery usage to stretch the Surface Pro 3 battery life from 6:30 a.m. in the morning to almost 4 p.m. in the evening. The tablet form factor definitely resonates with me. I love the idea of one device that serves as a higher-end Ultrabook, but with the ability to be used in a tablet form factor when that extra portability is desired. Obviously, it is large and heavy when compared to premium dedicated tablets on the market, and the weight being behind the screen instead of inside the keyboard deck makes it awkward to use as a laptop in some positions. The weight is light enough to where I'm not too fatigued while holding it with one hand in tablet mode, as long as I pull off the type cover. Also, just touching the keys behind the screen, it just feels weird to me. The Surface Pro 4 comes with a pen, and Microsoft offers an optional keyboard that I'm sure you are aware by now is not a very optional to get the full experience out of this device, unless you're buying the lower-end Surface SKU to be used purely as a mobile art tablet. Factor the keyboard into the cost of purchasing this device. The keys are comfortable, backlit, and have an impressive travel for how thin the keyboard really is. The trackpad is definitely top-notch, supporting 4-finger gestures, and its feel rivals that of previous generation MacBook Pros in my opinion. The pen is among the best in the market for most people's use case. I think stylus, like the active digitizers and pen inputs, are something that's kind of growing right now. People are starting to realize the value of it besides just artists. The nib that comes by default has great drag on the screen. The pen also has a button that serves mostly as a right-click equivalent and an eraser that behaves as, well, an eraser. It also feels that way too, which is really kind of cool. It kind of gives that drag and texture feel. The eraser also serves as a button with 3 customizable modes, and they are customizable at this point, which is awesome. A single click, a double click, and a click and hold. It has 1,024 levels of pressure sensitivity with no tilt tracking functionality to speak of. The pen experience is well built into the Windows 10 OS though. Performance-wise, the Surface Pro 4 is surprisingly fast for its form factor. I have the 6th generation i7 CPU option with the 16 gigs of RAM, and it really performs. It can play games like StarCraft 2, League of Legends, and Civilization Beyond Earth at their default settings without too big of an issue. The fan does kick on, and the back of the tablet gets pretty dang hot to the touch when it's being pushed, but when in laptop mode, the heat is pointed away from you and not on your lap, so it's really not a problem for continued use. You don't buy an Ultrabook for gaming, right? The Surface runs Adobe Premiere just fine and can handle editing 4K video, but don't expect to keep the preview window at full resolution. Render times aren't the best, but it is an Ultrabook. This brings me to the conclusion. Who's this device for? If you value portability and your workflow is pretty much anything short of 3D animation or heavy computational tasks like training a complex neural network or rendering a super high-end 4K video on the go, or again, rendering 3D animated scenes, this device is actually quite perfect for you. It's definitely in the Ultrabook category, though, so hardcore gamers who need all that FPS at high settings need not apply. But it can still do casual gaming like with StarCraft 2, Civilization Beyond Earth, League of Legends at medium settings, and even slightly more demanding games at really low settings and resolution. While many reviewers think Windows is a bad tablet experience, it's definitely a subjective thing. I personally really enjoy Windows 10 as a tablet, and I'm willing to hold this larger device to get all the other versatility benefits that the Surface Pro brings. And I guess that's really the definition of this line, right? The Surface line is versatility and portability, especially versatility, given less portability now that the Surface Studio is out. But ultimately, the versatility of this device is worth the sacrifices, in my opinion. The only thing the Surface Pro 4 is missing in this perfect setup dream I have is an eGPU dock. If Microsoft for the Surface Pro 5 came out with a new dock using the same Surface Connect that allowed for an external GPU, this would be, in my opinion, among those perfect devices. But what do you think? Is the Surface Pro 4 really a tablet that replaces your laptop like it is for me? Sound off in the comments below. And while you're down there, like this video and subscribe for more content coming your way.